Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about simplifying your makeup routine. I think we've all become very overwhelmed by these massive multi-step skincare routines, massive multi-step makeup routines, and I think maybe we've gotten a little bit carried away over the past few years. And I've been looking up beauty trends. I just did a video on 2025 beauty trends, and the trend seems like we're kind of trending down in terms of how many products we want to use in terms of skincare and makeup. And so I wanted to share with you a few tips and tricks about simplifying your makeup routine, because I think we've gotten to the point where a lot of us aren't comfortable leaving our houses without like a full face of makeup. So I'm going to be referring to the makeup look that I have on today, which is very simple. And the first tip, or the first sort of philosophy I want to share with you, is less is more. And not even in terms of less product, but I'm talking about less coverage. And when you go in with a medium to heavy coverage foundation, it blanks out everything. It basically gives you a canvas where you're starting from scratch. So you have to build a lot of things back in. That's when you have to bring in contour. That's when you have to start highlighting. You want to start receding and bringing forward some features. You want to add color back in. You have to draw everything back in when you use a higher coverage base product. And so I want to propose to you, for those of you who are out there using medium to high coverage foundations, I want to propose using something a lot lighter, maybe a tinted moisturizer, maybe just concealer. You guys have heard me talk about that a lot on this channel, that very often what I will do is just spot conceal. And I love using the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. That's what I have on today. I just put it around my eyes and I put it on what I consider to be problem areas. So I've got sunspots that I want to cover, and I put it on my jawline here where I have some hyperpigmentation or discoloration in general, and maybe a little bit around my nose, depending on how far I want to go. And then I just take a brush, like a foundation brush, and I just blend it all in. Really fast, really easy. And I still have the redness in my cheeks kind of coming through, and I have a lot of my skin still shining through, so I don't feel like I need to add too much from that point. Now, I know many women don't feel comfortable without concealing their entire complexion, but I feel like it's something you get used to. And so that's why I want to propose this sort of lighter coverage foundation, because it's usually something that you've just gotten used to. You've added a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and now when you don't have that level of makeup on, you feel very uncomfortable. It looks weird. So give yourself maybe a week. Try like a tinted moisturizer or just concealer for like a week straight, and I bet you're gonna get really comfortable with the idea of wearing less coverage, and it's just gonna speed up your makeup routine. You're just not gonna have to put on that much makeup to bring everything back out. Another tip I wanna share with you is just to focus on one feature. And again, we're coming from the viewpoint of just simplifying and saving time in your makeup routine. I don't think there's anything wrong with having a bold eye and a bold lip if that's what you want to do, and bold blush. But I think in terms of saving time and in terms of simplifying your routine, focusing on one feature will really help you out. The example I keep coming up with in my mind is doing a winged liner and doing a bold red lip. If I had to do both of those things, that would probably take me about a half an hour. It's just too long. I don't want to dedicate that much time to my makeup, especially when I'm in a rush in the morning, if I've got to get to work, if you've got to get your kids out the door, whatever the case is. I think what you want to do is focus on one feature. If you want to focus on your lips, like you love that bold red lip look, then leave everything else super simple. I would do like a light blush, maybe some mascara, a little brow gel, and that's it. Maybe a light dusting of like one eyeshadow color. Or if you want to focus on your eyes, which is what I did today, I created this look with just 2 eyeshadow colors. I have just a little bit of eyeliner and 1 coat of mascara, and that's it. And then my lips, super simple. I just have the Chanel Rouge Coco Flash in Boy. No lip liner, no nothing. I could probably apply it while I'm walking to my car if I need to get out the door. So I think focusing on one feature will save you a lot of time. Now, this next tip may be a little bit controversial, but I do want to mention that there was a time before YouTube. There was a time when we didn't all put our makeup on like a makeup artist. And I'm talking about contour and highlight and other sort of unnecessary steps. And those steps I would just get rid of immediately. I don't think the everyday person needs to contour. Contouring is important for a makeup artist, especially if they are getting someone ready for a photo shoot or to appear on television or something like that. They're sitting under really, really bright lights that really blank out the face, and you need to start carving out features to make the person look human again. We in the everyday world do not need to do this. I do it occasionally because I think it's fun. If I have time, I love to spend time doing my makeup. I find it very, very therapeutic. It's a lot of fun. I love drawing and painting. It's very similar to me. And contouring is just one of those things that is extra. I just think it's very, very unnecessary. And same with highlight. I think highlight is really beautiful. It's really fun. I think it's become such a normal thing. I think it's become a very normal everyday step for a lot of people, but it is unnecessary. The purpose of highlighting is to bring features forward. It's the exact opposite of contouring, and we just don't need it in the everyday. Of course, if you like that little bit of shine and sparkle to your cheeks, by all means, but I don't think it's something you have to do. And I think if you can maybe use a blush that has a lot of sheen to it, that could kind of take care of two steps in one. So I'm actually using the Lancome Miel Glacé. This is a blush I can't shut up about, but this has a really beautiful sheen to it, and it leaves my cheeks with that glow. I don't have any highlighter on. This is all of that blush. And so do I need to add a little bit of extra highlighter? Again, it's personal choice, but if I'm in a rush, I'm gonna forego that step. And when it comes to products, there are a lot of products out there that are multi-use, and I think that could save you quite a bit of time if you don't have to rummage through a lot of makeup to complete the look that you want. One product that does two things for me is this Balm Essential stick from Chanel. This is in the shade Moonlight Kiss, and this is meant to be a highlighter. So if you do want to add a little bit of highlight, this is great for that. But I actually like using this as a lip balm. It is beautiful. It leaves such a beautiful sheen on my lips. There's also cream blush products like the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks blush sticks. This is in the shade Mimi. Great blush, also a great lip color. So there are a lot of products that I think serve double duty, if you will. Another product actually that I'm just reminded of is the Chantecaille primer. This is their SPF primer. So not only is this a great SPF, but it is also a wonderful primer. But it's a primer that also blurs your skin. So if you're feeling really low maintenance or you're really in a rush and you want to just throw on some sunscreen, this is a great sunscreen to reach for because it'll also make your skin look really filtered and blurred out, and you may at that point be able to forego any kind of concealer or foundation. So this is a great product for that. And then there are products that have multiple products in them, so a little bit different, but something like this face palette from Hourglass. This is so great. I can pull out this one palette and I have some setting powder, I have some highlight, I have bronze, I have blush, and I don't have to be opening and closing compacts and reaching in my collection, searching for different things. I've got it all right here in one palette. Another product that could serve double duty is a very neutral toned blush or contour powder. Can be used just as a blush and for contour. So this Addiction blush that I actually just picked up, it's so beautiful. It's called Naked Veil, and it is a very cool toned blush, but it does what a blush should do, which is add just a little bit of color to your cheeks, add a little bit of life. But when I lightly dust this, like just right underneath my cheekbones here and around my forehead, it acts as a beautiful contour. So that's something that works double duty as well. And something that I actually just started doing a few months ago is using bronzer as my setting powder. I know that sounds very aggressive, but if I use a very, very light bronzer, when I'm done with concealer and I'm done with like my cheek products, I will go in with a really light bronzer like this Guerlain Terracotta, and I will lightly dust this all over my face instead of using a powder. So not only am I saving some time, but very often I feel like after I put on a full face of makeup and I've got powder and I've got bronzer and I've got contour and I've got blush and I've got highlighter and all this stuff on my face, I just feel like I just have too much. I just have too much makeup on my face. It starts to feel heavy. It starts to look thick, which I do not like. And I have dry skin, just as reference. So what I'll do is the concealer, I'll add a little bit of blush. And before I go into, eyeshadow and lipstick and all of that, I'll take a big fluffy powder brush. I'll go into a very light bronzer. This one is the shade 00 in the Terracotta Light Guerlain bronzer. The Clé de Peau bronzer is also very, very light, has a nice peachy tone. So if I just use a big bronzer and I just dust this all over my face like a powder, I'm not only bronzing my skin, but I'm also powdering my face as well and kind of setting down any makeup that I have underneath. And I really like that. I'm sure makeup artists out there right now are cringing, but this has worked for me, an everyday person, using a very light bronzer and just dusting that all over as a setting powder. And the last tip I want to share with you has to do with tools. Now, again, before YouTube, I don't think the average everyday person had a gazillion makeup brushes. Maybe a few that they got as like a gift with purchase. But I remember my mom, and even when I started wearing makeup when I was very young, I would just use those little sponge tip applicators or whatever little brush that came with the makeup. It's only the past, I don't know, 25 years where makeup is sold without any sort of, I almost said utensils, without any sort of tools, and it was dependent on you to get your own makeup brushes. Now, I love makeup brushes. I do not mind that trend. However, I think we all have a lot of makeup brushes at this point. And personally, because I have so many, I find myself digging through them. I have all of these options. I have all of these choices. And when it comes to eye makeup, I really like a simple eye makeup look. And so I only have two eyeshadows on. And if you want to simplify not only your routine, but your collection, I would get a brush shaped like this one. This is the Sonia G T5, but you can get any brush that's like a fluffy but flat shader brush. So you can brush on eyeshadow, you can turn it and use it to add a little bit of dimension to your socket line. You can use just the tips to add a little bit of a second color to the outer corner of your eye. You can even use the tips and add shadow to your lash line if you want to deepen up your lash line with like a deep shadow. But this shape is probably the most versatile. And in fact, I miss the Worker 1 brush from Sonia G because it was even a little bit fatter and a little bit denser of a brush, but like this, it was definitely oval shaped, but it was so versatile because you could use it in all these different directions and angles and basically do your entire eye. Now, if you only have one makeup brush, let's say, and you do go for something like this, you'll want to clean it off, obviously, between each step. So a microfiber towel, probably the cheapest and easiest solution to just clean off your brush in between each color, and you can go in with something darker or lighter, do whatever you need to do. But there's also products like this. I have a Sigma switch, but it's got all of these different, can you guys see? It's black, so it's hard to tell, but all these different sized nubs. And the smaller ones are for eye brushes, and then there's bigger, denser ones for like powder brushes. So you can run your brush over there, knock some shadow off, and then keep going. I'm sure you guys don't have a collection the size of mine, but if you have even multiples of anything, you're gonna end up digging through them. Is this one clean or whatever? And that's such a time killer. I think when I'm doing my makeup, that's what sucks the most time for me, is I'm digging through and then I'm like, is this dirty? Did I use this? Oh my gosh, let me try something else just in case. And I just end up spending so much time just going through all of my different makeup brushes and just getting too like micromanagey over the whole thing. So I recommend this if you need one eye brush, a fluffy flat shader. You can use it as a blender, you can use it as a shader, you can use it for detail. Something like this is great. And one thought I want to leave you with is skincare. If you're not spending a lot of time on your makeup and you've simplified your routine and you've brought it down to just the bare minimum, I would really recommend looking into maybe spending that time on skincare. I don't think we need to be doing a 14-step skincare routine, absolutely not. But makeup will only go on the way you expect, the way you want it to go on, if you've like moisturized and cared for your skin properly. And I'm not talking about, you have to have clear skin and, no blemishes or anything like that, but it needs to be clean, it needs to be moisturized, you need to exfoliate maybe once a week, nothing you need to do often, but you definitely need to make sure that your skin is clean and that it's moisturized. Make sure it's moisturized well. Even if you have oily skin, make sure it's moisturized. A lot of times oily skin is oily because it's dry. If you get my drift, your skin is sort of like producing oils because it's dry. And there are a lot of moisturizers out there that are mattifying. So if you are afraid of like oil and shininess or whatever, there are mattifying moisturizers or moisturizers made for oily skin. They're on the lighter side. They could be like a gel formula, things like that. But definitely make sure your skin is moisturized. Otherwise, makeup is just not gonna go well, no matter how great the makeup is, how nice it is, how well it's reviewed, how many people have recommended it to you. If you do not have well cared for skin, the makeup is not gonna go on well. All right, that is it for this video. Let me know what some of your tricks are for kind of cutting down on your makeup routine. If you have very little time in the mornings and you need to rush, please let us know down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.